Hey y'all, so I just want you guys to know that if anybody out there has ever been fighting with the welfare department here in California, let me tell you something. It is worth the fight, okay? I have a child and I have been fighting with welfare department here where I'm at for 7 months now, trying to get food stamps and cash aid for my child, not for me, because I don't qualify right now because of some back issues, but I already fixed all that. So I just have to wait a couple more months before I'm able to receive it. However, if you have a child, your child can still receive aid. So if you're ineligible because of something that happened, your children are still eligible. Don't think that you can't get aid for your children just because you were told you personally could not have aid based on maybe you have a felony because of it, or because you timed out or whatever else it is. You did the 48 months already on welfare, but you had another child. Well, that child is covered even though you may not be. So please don't think that you cannot have aid for your children. Another thing, I fought and fought and fought. So their little policies, they don't follow in their own departments. They're not following their own policies because I had cash aid and food stamps for my son for a year with the same court order that I'd given them when I had moved. Same thing. Well, I got told that my court order, visitation order or whatever wasn't real. Like I had altered it. Okay, so I had to appeal it. I had to fight for 7 months putting in proof that I'm part of my son's school, that I'm on his emergency information, that I'm on his medical information, that I take him to his doctor's appointments, that I'm the one that takes him to school too, and that I feed him when he's with me and all that. Well, the judge approved my cash aid, my CalWorks for him, and back pay for 7 months because I fought and I turned in all the proof that I could and I didn't give up and I kept talking to the appeals person, kept every single email back and forth was given to that judge. So the judge ruled, okay? The judge ruled on CalWorks was approved because they were incorrectly denied. But then their policy is something about like if the kid has more meals with the other parent then you can't get cash or food stamps for that kid. I don't know where they come up with this, but I have 50-50 custody straight down the middle. 50-50 physical and legal. How can you tell me that the kid eats more with his dad when he's in school during the day? When with me on the weekends, he eats like 5 times in a day. So I don't understand that part, right? So they denied my food stamps for my child, the judge, okay? Well, a business specialist was called in. And she looked over everything, even what the judge had said just recently, like 2 days ago, or last night. We got the notice, and she said, "No, we're going to also approve the food stamps for your child as well. We're not going to just because the judge, it is a policy, but because of everything that you've been through and how you were already had it for a whole year straight without any problems, and then all of a sudden there's a problem, and all of a sudden they don't want to give it to you and don't believe you and call you a fake and a fraud and a liar and think that you're altering court orders. Take it to court. Appeal it, you guys. Fight it. Fight it. Because if they're making these policies and they're making you follow the policies, then they need to follow them as well. I was even denied twice after the judge had told me to reapply for food stamps for my child. So I did. And since I'm living with my fiance now, it would be in his case because we are dependent on him. So we tried to add him to his case. We got denied because we're not legally married, yet we live together. And in the court order that I pulled up off of Google, you guys, Google, you can Google the court orders for the welfare departments and the policies and regulations they have to follow. And I pulled it up and said, it's either or. You're either legally married or you live together and you consider yourselves married. It's just not on paper because it costs money. And maybe we don't have that, So don't let the welfare system just deny you and think that they're right. Because half the time they're really not. And you can fight it. And you can appeal it, and you can go to court, and you can get all the evidence you need turned in, and you might just win. And if you win your case like me, and the big mess that I was in with my child for the past 8 months, you have a lawsuit. So therefore, I am suing California Welfare Department for negligence in a child food stamp case. with a mother who is disabled. I'm completely disabled and waiting for SSI. Okay, so I couldn't even be working during this time. They took my only income based off somebody else's lies, which is the father. The father's lies. So I'm telling you guys right now, don't let the welfare system play you. Don't think that just because they denied you and your kids or whatnot, that you can't go and fight and you can't go and get it back, or you can't, that they're right and you're wrong. Because literally half the time, you're right and they're wrong. Okay? But since you don't know your rights and you don't know their policies and regulations, even though it is your right to know those things before, at the very beginning, like it says in their pamphlets, get the information. Make sure they are following their policies to the T, because they make us follow it and then they take us off or kick us off, fine us, put us in jail over this shit. Okay? So I'm telling you guys, if you have a welfare case for your child, for you, your family, and you've been denied, fight it. Fight it. And if you win, take it even further. Take it even further. Get a lawyer. Take it to a class action lawsuit or just a lawsuit or whatever it is. Because if they're not being held accountable, nothing's going to change. They're just going to, a judge approved the case. Okay, back pay. Okay, or next case. They're not going to change. You have to hold the system accountable. So that's what I'm doing today. Since I had this humongous mess for 8 months for a child to receive aid, after I had already received it for him for a year, going back and forth, 8 months of no income and putting my son at risk of being back in his, in with his dad when he shouldn't be, when he should be with me on my time, because his dad's abusive and an alcoholic. It's not right. The system is backwards. It's crooked. It's corrupt. And if we, the people who are being oppressed and discriminated and judged and criticized and put down and not approved, don't stand up and use our voice and our minds, nothing will change in the system. And then our future generations will be going through this too. So let's stand up. If you have been denied cash aid or welfare or whatever in California, pull up their policies. It is a court order that all welfare departments have to follow. So you pull that up on Google, take it to your worker, whoever it is, and be like, you're not following these policies. I want to appeal your denial. Go to court, show the judge all this proof, get it approved, get your back pay, and then take it to even the federal courts. Because it's a federal funded program. Therefore, the federal government, it needs to be aware of these departments not using their funding properly. That's how you do it. You can't just sit here and be like, oh, it's okay, I approved it. Okay, next person. Okay, I'm good now. Help the people that are going to go through the same situation you went through. Help them to prevent this by holding the welfare department accountable for their wrongful terminations. They're breaking their own policies and stuff and giving everybody such a hard time trying to get aid when we have that due right in the 4th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. We have the right to have home. We have liberty of security and food and provision. And I didn't have that for 8 months for my child. Therefore, I am taking it to court. Superior, federal, I don't care. And I want you all to do the same. Because if we don't stand up and do something now as we the people, then our government's going to just keep walking all over every single generation that comes after us. Make a difference, you guys. Stand up against the government. Stand up against the wrongful terminations of welfare. Because they're not doing their jobs right. They're not giving the funding to the right people. Join me, and I'm telling you right now, let's make a difference. Fight it. God bless you guys, and good luck.